Hello, I'm Matt from Pondmax. Today we're going to show you the new Pondmax Filter repair kit. It's going to be for the PF 3600 UV. We're going to do this at Connie's Pond and Garden. Their demo tank here, their turtle tank, has a nice 3600 cleaning the water, and we'll show you how to repair it. Alright, so we have our PF 3600 tune-up kit. Everything that comes in there is going to include a new filter kit, a new quartz sleeve, a new lamp, and a full set of O-rings. All right. New O-rings, new quartz sleeve, the lamp, and 6 filter pads. So as you will understand, the Pondmax filter is a pressure filter, which means that the pump is constantly pushing the water through the filter to be filtered. Therefore, the tank always has water in it, and you want to make sure your pump is turned off before you begin any repairs. Also, we have the UV unit, which is here on the top of the filter, and it has a little indicator light. So once you unplug your UV as well, you'll make sure the indicator light is turned off. That indicates your UV is definitely turned off. Next, we'll move on to undoing the plumbing. So the plumbing is undone by simply just spinning off the 2 connectors here for the in and out. And then if you have a waste line hooked up as well, you can also undo that on the 3rd outlet on the side here with the little ball valve. Before we get started on the next step, you want to make sure you have a little screwdriver handy. These electric ones are nice for this type of job. And then a rag, and that's all the tools you need. So we'll undo the little clip that holds the lid clamp closed, and undo the main clamp and lower that down. Now, as we pull this out, you'll notice there's a lot of debris on this sponges, perfect for repair and cleaning. After turning the filter lid and filter assembly over, you can then use your little screwdriver, undo the screw that holds the agitator paddle here, take that out, and then undo the center cone in the top. And now you can remove the bottom sponge plate. Just be careful, this little piece here sometimes does come loose. Don't lose that. Now we can go ahead and remove the dirty sponges, get those out of our way. Set those aside. And just before we put the new sponges on, you want to go ahead and inspect everything, inspect the center tube, make sure there's no cracks, and also look at the valve assembly here by turning the valve assembly and make sure that runs smoothly and nothing's broken. All right, everything looks good, so we're ready to put our new sponges back on. So we'll go ahead and take the top sponge. Now, you want to notice the difference between those 2 plates. This one has a smaller diameter hole. That is the one that goes on top. So we'll put that one on first, down, small hole down, and go ahead and slide that down by the agitator handle. And then just put these on alternating blue and yellow till you get all those clicked together correctly. Make sure that you get them, there's a top and a bottom to each one, so just make sure they fit together and spin okay. And once we get all those on, pretty easy to put those on, we can go ahead and grab our bottom sponge plate and put that back in place. Make sure the little stainless steel shaft here pokes up through that little hole, and then scoot that over. It's a little tight because they're new sponges, till that is in the center tube is aligned in the middle, and we can use our bottom cone and go ahead and thread that on. Ready for our little screw, which comes next. Again, back to the screwdriver, makes the job easy. And get that little screw in place on the bottom of the shaft, and back we go. All set, there we go. Sponges are replaced, ready to put the lid back into the filter. Before we put our lid assembly with the new sponges back in, we just want to quickly grab our biomedia out of the bottom of the tank and inspect that. Rinse it off with a little pond water if you like. Just don't use chlorinated, it'll kill the biological activity. And then get the tank and swoosh the water around a little bit. Sometimes there's heavy material like sand in that builds up in the bottom, so you want to just dump that out into your flowers. Nice fertilizer. All right, we'll go ahead and replace the main lid O-ring. Just get a hold of that old O-ring here with your fingers, pull that out, and that can be discarded. Set that aside. All right, and then clean this area with your rag. Make sure there's no grit. Oftentimes little sand and grit will get caught there, and when you put your new O-ring in, it may leak. So you want to make sure that's nice and clean in that area. There is, you might feel a little bit of grease that was on there originally from the original O-ring, and that's good because it provides a little lubricant, make sure there's good seal between the O-ring and the tank. Get your new O-ring. Again, it has a little bit of lubricant on it. Just kind of make sure there's no big pieces on there. Line that up around your tank, slip that over, and you're set. Good to go. Now give the lid a quick wipe down. Make sure that's nice and clean. And lower the lid and filter assembly back into your tank. Want to give that a good squish. Make sure it's nice and tight down over the new O-ring. And go ahead and put your lid clamp in place. Should fit on without too much of a problem. If that is tight and seems to be not going on right, there must be something wrong with the O-ring or hasn't been pushed down far enough. So go ahead and try to make sure that's done first. And then just clamp that down tight, clip it shut, and you're ready to replace the UV quartz sleeve. Now with our filter put back together, we can go ahead and service the UV. Now the UV assembly consists of a transformer, a quartz sleeve, and a lamp. So that will easily be removed with our little screwdriver. Now you want to make sure you turn the power off. Again, make sure the power is off before you take the UV assembly apart. So we'll go ahead and take our 4 screws out that hold the UV down and get that loosened up. And then once you got your 4 screws out, you can go ahead and set those aside. Make sure you don't lose those because we do not provide new screws. So that's one thing you don't want to lose. Once you got your screws out, you just gently pull up on the transformer assembly. Go ahead and pull that up. Now you want to inspect the quartz sleeve before you do anything else. Make sure there's no water inside the quartz sleeve. Now a little condensation is okay. But standing water is a problem. That means either the O-ring has gone bad or the quartz sleeve is actually broken somewhere. So you want to make sure you inspect that first and see if there's any standing water. Otherwise, you can go ahead and turn that over and set that down. And then next you can undo the ring that holds the quartz sleeve in place. And once you get that off, you can just gently tug up on your quartz sleeve and it should come up, and you'll notice you got your O-ring here that seals that. And inside you may find some little plastic pieces. Now don't worry, those were just used in shipping. So nothing's broken. It's just something that was used in shipping to hold the lamp in place, and sometimes it breaks down over time with the UV from the lamp. So that's okay. So go ahead and set your quartz sleeve aside, get your old lamp, tug up on that, pull that out, and then you are nice and ready to go. And you can use your rag, tip out any of those little bits, use your rag and clean out that area where the O-ring goes before you put your new O-ring in. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and check our O-ring and replace our O-ring here that goes around the transformer throat. So when you put this back in, this O-ring is what seals the water from leaking between the lid and the transformer. So go ahead and discard your old O-ring, and then you want to wipe that down. Now make sure you don't lose this little ring here, because that does not come in the pack. This is just a little retainer ring to hold the O-ring in place. You can wipe that down, and then wipe around the transformer, get that nice and clean. Again, any grit or debris can cause leakage later on, so we want to make sure that doesn't happen. Get your new O-ring, go ahead and slide that down into place. Now it's very important we get that in the correct position, because if this is in the wrong position, it will be hard to get it into the lid. So as you can see here, we have multi-steps, and just take a note of which step that O-ring goes on. You don't want to stretch it too much, but you don't want it too loose. There's one step that fits it perfectly. Then you take the little retainer ring, again, that'll slide on there just so, and keep that in place. And then we're ready to go ahead and put your new lamp in, and just get your lamp. Now be careful, you don't want to touch the lamp with your fingers, the actual glass part, because the oil on your fingers, when the lamp heats up, the oil on your fingers will cause the lamp to break. So you want to go ahead and use the box or a napkin, a dry napkin, something like that, to put that in place. Slide that down. Sometimes you have to move these little metal reflectors aside, and go ahead and get that clipped in correctly. Make sure it's nice and snug, and you're good to go, ready for your quartz sleeve. With our new lamp installed, we're ready to put the new quartz sleeve in. So we have our quartz sleeve here. You can pull that out. Now it may come with one of the little plastic holders for the lamp. Again, this is really only necessary for shipping, but you can put that on if you like. And go ahead and put your new gasket onto the quartz sleeve. Slide that on the very tip there, and go ahead and lower that down onto the UV transformer assembly. Get your retainer ring, go ahead and tighten that up. Make sure it doesn't cross thread. You want to make sure that's good and tight so that it doesn't leak. You know, just hand tight, but good to go. We got that all installed, ready to go, and we can go ahead and put the transformer assembly into our filter again. Go ahead and give it a little body weight, get it seated down correctly. If it's not going, if the tabs here aren't flush, then you know there's probably something going on with the gasket inside, which is keeping that from actually seating down. So you want to be careful, don't force it, just make sure it's seated down with a little extra weight. All right, tighten up the 4 screws. You can do that in a alternating pattern. Just helps make sure they're all sort of tightened up evenly, and make sure you don't over tighten. If you do over tighten, it can create cracks in the lid, which therefore cause leaks. Once those are tightened up, you are good to go. Your filter is back in service. Just plumb it back up. All set, ready to go. Our PF 3600 UVs all nice and plumbed up, ready to roll for the season. Repaired, new sponges, new UV, new quartz sleeve, new O-rings, ready to roll.